Canada's health minister was in Thunder Bay today for a major funding announcement to help limit the spread of blood-borne and infectious diseases in the north. Jean-Yves Duclos was at Elevate NWO to announce funding towards a program called Strengthening Peer Engagement for Northern Ontario. Elevate is getting a little over $500,000 of that funding, with Sioux Lookout First Nation Health Authority receiving $1.6 million. Carl Langdon reports.
No one government, and certainly not the federal government, and no single organization can reduce the health impact of sexually transmitted and blood-borne infections alone.
That spread of sexually transmitted and blood-borne illnesses has seen a notable rise in Northern Ontario, with a significant portion of new infections coming as a result of a lack of access to safe supplies for illicit drug users, who, when faced with challenges obtaining supplies, may fall back on decisions that ultimately put them at greater risk. It's for this reason that social issues relating to the spread of infectious disease are so heavily linked to the use of illicit drugs.
People who are living with or at risk of HIV, Hep C, overdose, or other harms prefer to get their information from peers and from family. Our project seeks to put that education and that information into the hands of people who have lived experience.
Gonvay says a network of trusted peer support workers often makes the difference between an individual seeking support or not, and provides opportunities for service organizations to extend warnings, as well as information on safer practices to drug dealers that they normally would have no way of contacting.
You could well imagine that most drug dealers are not going to let me into their apartment if I go knocking on their door, right? One of our peers was very active in their substance use, and they were able to talk to some local drug dealers who didn't know that they needed to wipe down scales or change gloves.
Well, it's a great initiative. It's about $2.6 million for a range of stakeholders, including Elevate NWO, which we know is central in the fight against what we call sexually transmitted diseases, also blood-borne diseases.
The issues at hand are complex and require a deep knowledge of individual experiences, many of which are almost impossible to obtain without being in a state of active substance use, which is exactly why the help of peer support workers is so essential. Carl Langdon, TBT News.